Hello, this is Chaneta. I'm the author of How to Have This and That, and Awake Away a Conscious Etc., found on Amazon. This particular topic I'm talking about today is taken from one of Neville Goddard's lectures called Affirm the Reality of Our Own Greatness. That's right. In the creation of a new way of life, we must begin at the beginning with our own individual regeneration. The formation of organizations, political bodies, religious bodies, social bodies is not enough. The trouble we see goes deeper than we perceive. The essential revolution must happen within ourselves. Everything depends on our attitude towards ourselves, that which we will not affirm within ourselves can never develop in our world. Simple. Look around. Think of what you've been thinking recently. This is the religion by which we live, for religion begins in the subjective experience like charity. It begins at home. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind is an ancient formula, and there is no other. Everything depends upon man's attitude towards himself. That which he or she cannot or will not claim as true of himself or herself can never evolve in his world or her world. Let me repeat. Everything depends on man's attitude towards himself or herself. That which he or she cannot or will not claim as true about him or herself can never evolve in the world. Simple. Man is constantly looking about his world and asking what's to be done, what will happen, when he should really ask, who am I? What is my concept? Myself. If we wish to see the world and find a greater place, we must affirm the reality of a finer, greater place where? Within ourselves. It begins with the individual, that is you, that is me. You cannot see more than the contents of your consciousness. You cannot see more than the contents of your consciousness, for nothing has existence for us save through the consciousness we have of it. To see the world as different, you must be different fundamentally. You must lose your soul on a level you now know it and find it again on a higher level, that level that you seek. The only test of religion worth making is whether it is true-born, whether it springs from the deepest conviction of the individual, whether it is the fruit of an inner experience. No religion is worthy of a man unless it gives him a deep and abiding sense that all is well, quite irrespective of what's happening all around him. And that is even as personal. The methods of mental and spiritual knowledge are entirely different, for we know a thing mentally by looking at it from the outside, by comparing it with other things, by analyzing and defining it. When we spend time in solitude, we are driven to subjective experience. It is then that we should imagine ourselves to be the ideal person we desire to see embodied in the world. If in our solitude we experience in our imagination what we would experience in reality had we achieved our goal, we will be in time the thing or the image that we want to become. Be ye renewed in the spirit of your mind. The process of making a fact of being a fact of consciousness is by renewing of our minds. We are told to change our thinking. Good start. But we can't change our thought unless we change our ideas, because our thoughts are what? They are pouring of our ideas, and our innermost ideas are who we are. That is, who you are, who I am. The end of longing is always to be, not to do. Be still and know I am that which I desire to be. Strive always after being, not doing. External reforms are useless unless our heart is reformed. Heaven is entered not by curbing our passions, but rather by cultivating our virtues, and an idea is only quickly forgotten if it's renewed by other new ideas, and then it disappears. We can only absorb the new ideas if we get rid of the old ideas. It's like a dead oak leaves. They hang on, and the only reason why they're pushed off is by the new ones. Creativity is basically a deeper receptiveness, a keener susceptibility. The future dream must become a present moment fact if we're going to alter our life in any way. Every great outpicturing is preceded by a period of profound absorption. When the absorption is filled with the highest ideal, when we become the ideal, then we start seeing it manifested in our world, whatever that is. The present always advances into the future. This is essentially how we change our future. In now, which is elsewhere, for us is absolutely meaningless. We recognize now when it is at the same time here. When we feel ourselves into the desired state here and now, we have truly changed our future. There are so many discouraged people right now who are sorely in need of the inspiration of great principles. We must get back to first principles. If we are to speak with a voice that will kindle the imagination and rouse the spirit, we must get back to the beginning. Again, I must repeat, in the creation of a new way of life, we must begin at the very beginning with our own individual regeneration. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that he can do everything. Everyone thinks they can do this, they can do that. Everybody says, what can I do? What can I do? It's impossible to do anything. One must first be to have. It's hard for us to accept the fact that we of ourselves do nothing. It's essentially difficult because it's the truth, and the truth always somehow difficult for man to accept. But actually, nobody can do anything. Everybody has to be. Everything happens. All that befalls man is done by him. All that comes from him, all that happens to him, all that's going all around to him is because of his concept of himself. You have to change your being. You have to change your mind. You have to change the consciousness of where you are right now to get the results that you want to show up in your life. What concept are we holding of ourselves in the higher regions of our soul? What concept are you holding of yourself in the higher regions of your soul? You must be before you can do and have. Everything depends upon man's attitude towards himself or herself. That which we cannot affirm or will not affirm, I'm repeating, of ourselves, we can see it in the world. A change of concept of self is the right adjustment, the new relationship between surface and the depth of man. That's how it's done. Deepening is, in principle, always possible, for the ultimate depth lays in everyone. It is only a question of becoming conscious of it. Life depends on the willingness to die to the old and be born to the new. You must be born again. This is not dying in flesh, it's dying in your way you think, your beingness, how you be. You have to be renewed, and then it will show up in your flesh. Subjection to the will of God is an old phrase, for it is, and it's a perfect phrase. There's no other subjection to the will of God. In that self-commitment to the ideal we desire to express, all conflict is dispersed, and we are transformed into the image of the ideal in whom we rest. Be ye renewed in the spirit of your mind. Isn't it wonderful when you know the reality of your own greatness, who you are? Yes, it is wonderful. For when you know who you are, you know that you know that you know you can have this and that. This is Chaneta, author of How to Have This and That. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, click like, share with your family, friends, relatives, strangers. For more inspiration, go to Amazon.com and buy my books. And give me thumbs up. Give me thumbs up for my videos and tell me what you want us to talk about next. Subscribe to my station, remember, my channel, and contact me for speaking engagements and workshops. We're all one. I am also on Facebook. My fan page is Health, Wealth, and Time Freedom, which applies to Instagram and Twitter. And my personal Facebook is Chaneta V. Cummings Lewis. Thank you for being a part of my world where everything and all things are possible when you be renewed in the spirit of your mind and know the reality of your own greatness. Yes, you can have this and that when you're AAC, awake, aware, and conscious. Thank you. Subscribe and give me a thumbs up.